Hi, thanks for joining me. You'll see a lot of content creators talking about chronic pain reduction in general. And I purposely have dedicated this channel to just migraine pain reduction. There's several reasons for that. One, migraine I feel like has a lot of nuances and a lot of what people perceive as their triggers or different things that this debilitating pain of migraine I just feel is different, and I wanted to create this community that has like-minded people that know what each other have been experiencing. So that's the first thing. And most of all, it's because it's what I know. I would feel like a fraud talking about these other type of chronic pain that I've never been in. For 37 years, I've lived with migraine, 34 of them suffering. So it's a topic that's very familiar to me. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Karen Ash, and I'm the founder of Migraine Oasis. Probably like you, as far as trying everything, trying to avoid the pain, trying to figure out how to stop the pain once it comes. I mean, my life has been completely derailed by migraine for so many decades. And now that I'm no longer suffering, I just feel this huge passion to get the information that helped me so much to other people. When I realized, okay, where has this information been? Clearly, people have been using it and it's nothing new. So, why is it not more mainstream? So, that's my main purpose, to try to raise awareness, try to be one of the people who are bringing this information forward and hopefully helping to reduce the suffering of the 1 billion people with migraine currently living worldwide. When this first episode, I was thinking, what would I want you to know about migraine as a mind body condition? And first of all, I know you're not thinking of it as a mind body condition right now. Most people are not. They think of it as a chronic, uncurable disease that maybe has a genetic factor to it. Either way, it's a life sentence. This is how I felt anyway. And it really just gave me no hope to look for a solution or a root cause. I was just looking for pain management and trying to find a better medication that would help me to relieve the symptoms. And so this is a completely different approach to that. And I'm here to tell you that it's not a life sentence. Absolutely not. I'm proof the many people who are doing this work, who have already been through this work and have healed their chronic pain in many different things, not just migraine, but chronic back pain, chronic IBS, and all different types of things that are a mind body condition. And I'll explain that in a minute of what I mean by that. So, the first thing that I would want you to know is this absolute infinite power of the brain. I mean, this has been so mind blowing to me as far as in our ability to heal ourselves. It is just such a factor that has been overlooked by me anyway. There's a power of the brain that's very significant. We all have access to this amazing tool that we may or may not be using to its full capacity. If you don't know about it, then of course you're not looking into it. And so this is part of why I'm here, is to raise awareness, like I had mentioned. With that said, the next thing that I would want you to know is that the brain decides if or when you have pain. So it's a brain decision, and that's important to know. It's coming from your mind, the brain. That's who's making the decision. And why that's important is because we have power over the brain, or we have to some extent our mindset, the thoughts, the type of interactions that we're having, and the tension that we have within our body, or what's causing our mind upset or calmness is a factor in all of this. So we do have a lot more power, and that would be one of the other things that I would want to really get across in this than we think we do. A brain that feels safe is a brain that is not going to fire pain or be in a protective mode. That is a really important thing. The nervous system, if that feels safe, it's not dysregulated, it's not sending messages up to the brain that we're in danger or something needs to be protected. So this makes sense if it's something structural. So say you have a hurt ankle. You step on it and there's pain. So the brain has sent pain down to the ankle. And why it does that is because it also sends inflammation. It doesn't want you to walk on it because you'll cause further damage potentially. So the system is set up where the nervous system is alerting the brain is sending in an instant second a reaction down to the source and making it be painful so that you don't do further damage. That makes sense in something that's structurally, or if, say, maybe it's not pain, but it's a reaction. So with a hot stove, and you put your hand near the hot stove and you quickly yank it back. That's another one of these ways that the brain and the nervous system is working optimally to keep you safe in protective mode. But what if it's something like a migraine that is not anything structurally? So how is that working? And it turns out that the nervous system can become dysregulated and the brain feel unsafe, even with emotional triggers. So even when there's tension in the body and there's emotion that is making us upset, that can be enough to dysregulate things and feel unsafe to the brain. And like I said before, an unsafe brain is triggering pain or going into protective mode of some kind. It's giving us an upset stomach. It's giving us some sort of thing of, okay, we need to keep her safe. We need to get them out of harm's way. There's an interesting phenomena that happens though. The brain doesn't always get it right. We're not always in actual danger. There's a couple things that, one is called the rubber arm experiment. I'll have a link below in the show notes. A person is sitting there and the experimenter is doing things to this fake rubber arm. Their real arm is hidden behind a screen. And they put either something cold like an ice cube, or they put a pin prick, or they do something to this rubber arm. And the person actually reacts and thinks, ow, they start to think it's their arm. And so it just shows the power of the mind that when the brain can be tricked and you think that it's actually your hand. It's a really cool experiment that they do. You'll have to go check it out. Another thing that I had heard about is in the UK, there was this construction worker and he stepped on a nail and it went through his boot. So he's in excruciating pain. His coworkers, everybody's upset around him. He gets rushed off to the hospital and so much pain that he actually is giving morphine. And within the hospital, they take off the boot. It turns out that the nail had actually gone between the toes. It hadn't even punctured his skin. So what this goes to show is if your brain sees that, you automatically think, oh, there's a problem. It went through my foot. And your brain is perceiving that as a major problem and causing you pain when there was actually nothing physically wrong with that man. Why I'm telling you those two situations is because it just goes to show you that the brain doesn't always get it right. It's trying to protect us. It's trying to do its job. But there are times when there's nothing structurally wrong and pain still comes. So let's move to migraine because that's obviously one of them. It turns out that emotions, so that man, the construction worker, he got all upset. He felt sure that nail had gone through his foot. Emotions and tension in the body can cause the same reaction as something physically that happens. So our fearful thoughts around, say, our migraine, I had tons. I mean, just as soon as pain would come on, I would just be like, oh, this is going to mess up my day. Or, oh, I would get into bed. I would have this whole routine. I mean, it was just this big, huge thing. And I was just really fearful of the amount of hours that I was going to spend in the fetal position in excruciating pain. So it's natural, obviously, that your thoughts would turn very negative and very dark and fear this. But it turns out that some of this fear-based thinking is dysregulating our nervous system and sending danger signals to the brain. That's actually part of what's perpetuating the cycle of the pain cycle. There's also things in our subconscious that we're not even aware of. Things like childhood traumas, things that happened to us way long ago in childhood, or other hurts and angers and resentments and things that have happened along in our life that are way back in the subconscious that we haven't thought about in years and years, decades sometimes. And those things are still in the body as stored trauma, stored energy. Emotion is energy in motion. If it can't be in motion and getting up and out of you, it's stuck somewhere, essentially. These things are also causing tension within the body that can be then dysregulating the nervous system and then sending messages to the brain that you're in danger. This leads into the mind-body connection. We understand that people have blushed when they're embarrassed. If you're nervous about giving a presentation or going on a first date or something, you get butterflies or stomach ache. People that get very angry sometimes tend to get a headache, or there's a million things that you can think about of what a emotional stress does within the body. That's been very studied and proven over time, scientific evidence on that. This is another sign that we have some control. So if we know that this is causing a physical reaction potentially, we have to think about that also in light of our migraines. So if we know that the brain is triggering the pain, and we know that a dysregulated nervous system is sending these messages back and forth to the brain to say, okay, there's danger, we need protection, then how can we reverse engineer that essentially? And that's what people are doing. That's what everybody is doing with this mind body connection as they're trying to reverse chronic pain. They're teaching their brain different pathways, neural pathways. You may have heard of this term, and sending more safety messages to the brain than fearful messages or danger messages. So there's all kinds of ways to do that. That's what this channel is going to be about. It took 34 years for me to really hear about that. It's nothing new. It's been scientifically proven already. It's just not that mainstream. And it's been upsetting to me to know that this has been around for so long. And yet here I was just in absolute agony and misery for all these years, not knowing about it. So I'm really, really passionate to get this information out now and try to bring this more into the mainstream. So if you're interested in learning more about this concept, follow along, subscribe. If you want to join us in the Facebook group, it's called Migraine Oasis Private Group. There's also the YouTube channel, there's a podcast, and Instagram has a lot of information as well. So come and join the conversation, put a comment below, let me know if there's any questions and any other content that you would be interested in seeing. And until then, I am wishing you more and more pain-free days, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.